Eritu ano to obunaru fata aniro anna fata dam. Eritu ano to obunaru fata aniro anna fata dam.
We can go tonight, my friend responded, if you'd like to give us some batteries for our flashlights. Well, I respected his negotiation tactics, so I agreed. I wanted so badly to go on a crocodile hunt that I was ready to give more than just a few batteries. At nightfall, we loaded up the canoe. They had bows and arrows, some larger spears too. The larger ones were like javelins, thick wood with an iron spike driven in the top of them. They also had axes and machetes. It felt like we were loading up to go to war. The mosquitoes were bad until we got into the canoe and started moving. We were pulling with carved oars in a dugout canoe, in the dark, no moon, no stars. The perfect night, they said. We pulled our canoe upriver for about an hour, winding back and forth through the jungle, following the river. It was slow against the current. We could have walked upriver faster, but we needed the canoe. They'd already refused my offer to use our boat motor. No, pook-pooks will hear the motor and dive, they said. Right, yep, of course. But this was my very first croc hunt in Wabaku, so I was afforded some first-timer misunderstandings. We pulled upriver in silence. Well, they pulled. I just sat. I offered to take a turn, but knowing which side to put your oar on and when was a pretty delicate business, and they preferred I just be the passenger princess on this hunt. Finally, we got upriver far enough. They spun the canoe back around, pointing it back downriver from where we came. They set the oars down in the canoe, and they let the river slowly carry us back down. Then they turned on their flashlights, and all talking stopped, only whispers. They scanned the river back and forth with their flashlights in silence, except for the crickets and jungle bugs. I watched the river carefully, trying not to breathe too loudly or make any noise, but I was getting pretty nervous. This was getting real. Suddenly, the guy in the front of the canoe started flicking his flashlight up and down, signaling that he had seen one. I could see nothing. The other guys silently dropped their oars back into the water and helped steer us towards the riverbank in the direction he had signaled. I felt my pulse quicken. Here we go. I was holding a bush knife sitting in the canoe, but that was more for, self-defense than for hunting. As our canoe almost reached the riverbank, I could still see nothing. Then the guy in front said, "Oh, okoredokri," with disappointment. He already dove. So we pulled our canoe back into the middle of the river. They kept scanning and we kept floating slowly, quietly. Kobe was right behind me. I whispered, "Did you see it? I didn't see anything." Kobe whispered back, "The eyes reflect the light of the flashlight, so look for two glowing eyes." So I kept scanning, and then the flashlight in front signaled again. I looked at where his light was pointing, and I saw a little glimmer just above the water. My heart started racing. All of a sudden, I had some panicked thoughts. What if someone gets hurt on this trip? It was my idea. What if I'm responsible for somebody getting mauled? They pulled slowly toward the riverbank again. We were almost there. As we were about to hit the mud of the riverbank, I heard a little splash, and I held my breath. Then there was a croaking sound like a large bullfrog. Ambi at the front of the canoe had reached his arm into the water and was holding a baby crocodile by the back of the neck. It was croaking and occasionally thrashing its tail. It was about as long as his arm. All of my nerves quickly disappeared, and I was relieved at how small it was. I even forgot to whisper, and I said, "Oh, moana na tutana, Mom." I was afraid for nothing. Came the quick reply. "Murin me di brinwa obat." Its mom must be close. Another first-timer mistake. Don't forget about the mama. Ambi tied the baby croc's mouth shut with a long piece of grass and then just dropped it in the canoe. All my uneasiness came back that there was now a live crocodile in this canoe with us. They seemed to just ignore it, but I was tucking my toes under me. Again and again, there was a signal at the front of the canoe, and again, we drifted to the riverbank. Some pook-pooks we got, some we missed. We had picked up 2 more small crocodiles, just by Ambi reaching in the water and grabbing them with his hand. He tied each of their mouths shut with grass, and they were all 3 croaking like frogs, calling out to Mom for help, I guess. I felt like a diver holding a bloody chunk of meat, just diving out in shark-infested waters. And then we finally found Mom. This time, instead of the up and down movement with the flashlight, Ambi clicked it on and off, and it pointed in the same spot. I couldn't see anything, but I also had one eye on my toes. This time, before we got to the riverbank, a guy behind me excitedly whispered, "Timber body, it's very big." I still couldn't see it. I held my breath again, and we slowly drifted toward the very big croc, invisible to me in the black water. And then I heard a loud smack, and a spray of water hit me in the face. It was startling. The smack sound echoed off the jungle. Then Ambi said, "Tiri mako." I missed her. He had taken his oar, turned it sideways, and tried to bash the large crocodile over the head. But he only hit water, splashing all of us. To be honest, I was pretty thankful he missed. By then, we had almost drifted all the way back to the village. You could see the glow of firelight around the next river bend. So now we were too close. No pook would ever come this close to the village. Everyone started talking again, and everyone seemed to think that we had failed, but I was satisfied. I asked them, "Can I carry one back home to show my boys?" "All 3 are yours," they said. Well, that was pretty exciting. I was now the proud owner of 3 crocodiles. "Thanks," I said, "but I'll just take 2. So I grabbed each crocodile behind the head, and I walked home in the dark. When I got home, my hands were full, so I knocked on the door with my foot, and Lakin opened it. Her response was not disappointing. "What? That's awesome!" But the boys were already sleeping. "Just get a picture," Lakin suggested. "We can show them tomorrow." "Don't have to," I said proudly. "They're ours." There was a brief discussion, and before long I was filling up 2 coolers with a little bit of water. I got rubber bands and put some extra security on the 2 crocodiles' mouths, and then I dropped them in their new cooler homes. So we went to sleep with our new 2 pet crocodiles waiting in coolers in the living room. I was so excited to show the boys in the morning. But the night was not quite over.